Number 5, Notre Dame beating USC 49-35, and Notre Dame officially clinching a first-round home game in the college football playoff with this 14-point victory over USC because they do not play in conference title weekend next week, obviously. Let's go over the 5 highest-grade players, starting off with the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, starting off with Emil Wagner, the offensive tackle, 90.1 grade for the tackle. Jeremiah Love, 82 grade. Jack Kaiser, 81.2. Cornerback Leonard Moore, 76.5. Junior Tui Malaka with a 74.4 grade. And the edge defender, and then Riley Leonard with a 85.7 mark against USC. Let's go to USC with their 5 highest grade players, starting off with Makai Lemon, 90 grade in this one. Nate Clifton, 75.9. Zachariah Branch, wide receiver, 72.6. Another receiver, Deuce Robinson, 72.4. Achille Arnold, safety, 72.3. And Jaden Maiava with a 91.9 grade in the loss for USC. Dalton, for you, the most sad story really in the Notre Dame 14-point victory over USC.
Well, we know what Notre Dame's identity is. It's to play great defense, and their defense in this game wasn't great until they really needed to be at the end, and to run the living hell out of the football. And they ran for 7.4 yards per carry in this game. Somehow that's only their 3rd best of the season, as is their 81.7 rushing grade in this game. 145 yards after contact. They've run for 200-plus yards in 5 straight games.
Jeez.
This is what they do, is they line up and maul people. Max, they're one of 2 teams, along with Army, in the top 10 of both rushing grade and run blocking grade. If you're going to play Notre Dame, you have to find some way to slow down Jeremiah Love, Jadarian Price, and Riley Leonard with his feet. And Leonard made a few nice throws yesterday also, but it's the run game. It is just one of the most efficient running games in the country. You mentioned it in our preview with USC and the run defense being kind of below average, and this is a bad matchup for them. It certainly was a bad matchup for them. We got Jeremiah Love hurdling people. We got Riley Leonard putting his body on the line between the tackles. This is Notre Dame's identity, and it's why they're more dynamic than last year, because they have Riley Leonard as the option threat, as even a design running threat. They have a 3-headed monster in the backfield that any team in the playoffs should be worried about if they have to play Notre Dame.
Yeah, and a big reason for that, Dalton, the offensive line was really good for Notre Dame. 76.2 offensive line grade in this one. Their front 5 bullied USC up front. They had a 79.8 pass blocking grade as a unit, 1 sack, 3 pressures allowed on 28 snaps, 14% pressure rate allowed in this game. That's our 4th best all year. Only 2 other losses besides the 3 pressures allowed all game as well. 72.4 run blocking grade as a unit. They averaged 3.4 yards before contact per attempt. The 2nd most they've had all year, trailing only the Army game last week. Yes, the running backs are great, and Jadarian Price and Jeremiah Love and Riley Leonard's quarterback is a really good runner. But this offensive line is kicking ass as well, and I think that's a big part of why they're able to just out-physical teams right now, honestly. If their run game is really relying on Leonard and Price and Love, who are 3 really good players, but they didn't have a great O-line, they struggle, right? You see Ohio State, they have 3 capable players like as well in Ohio State, and Will Howard and Quinshon Judkins and Trayvon Henderson, but they're struggling right now to run the ball because the O-line can't get any movement. The Notre Dame offensive line is getting movement right now, and you combine that with 3 really good runners in Leonard, Price, and Love. That is why Notre Dame is winning games really solely off the ground game right now.
No, absolutely. And this offensive line, it's a big development, because wasn't this a unit that came into the year with, 6 combined starts between them before the year, I think was the number? It's a brand new offensive line.
And you lose Joe Alt.
You lost Joe Alt. You lost Blake Fisher, right? I mean, they had to redevelop this entire thing. And my most impressive, I'm going to go with the big right tackle, Emil Wagner, because coming into this year, 52 snaps in his career last season. That's all he had, but a 90.1 grade in this game, 87.8 run blocking grade. You can get behind a guy like that. 6 positive run blocks in the grading and no negatives. I mean, this is the type of performance they need up front. We talked about it again. The playoff is going to have a lot of really good defensive fronts, and if Notre Dame's offensive line can hold up and they can run the football like this, they can beat anybody, because they're another one. I know they gave up 35 points in this game, and I think it is a question about their coverage on the outside if they face a great passing game, but we know their defense is really talented, especially down the middle of it. But if they can control the pace with their running game behind this offensive line, if Wagner and guys like this up front are going to play this well, and obviously the backs and Riley Leonard are great in the run game too, it's a dangerous team. It's a really dangerous team, and I think a team that maybe we're not talking about enough in the national title picture, not just the playoff picture, because they've got a little bit of everything. If they can just make enough throws in the passing game, I think this team could go a long way.
Absolutely. I want to go with my most impressive to USC side for a second. Jaden Maiava. And I'll admit, Dalton, you, I think, and I were both not really a fan of the Miller Moss benching when he got benched. I didn't even think he was the fault with the problem with USC. But Maiava was very good yesterday against Notre Dame with a 90.6 passing grade, 360 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He had 6 big-time throws against Notre Dame yesterday. That's the most by a USC quarterback in a game since Sam Darnold, when he had 7 big-time throws in the bowl game against Ohio State back in 2017. So 7 years ago was the last time a USC quarterback had at least 6 big-time throws in a game, tied for the most ever by a Lincoln Riley quarterback as well. So really impressive performance by Jayden Maiava, again, against Notre Dame, who right now, besides Texas, has the best coverage grade in college football. Second best coverage grade in college football, and he threw for 6 big-time throws against them. So, yes, I know Ben Morrison's out for the year. That's a big reason why the coverage grade is so high and now is obviously not as great anymore. But still, Jayden Maiava has really exciting potential. And I don't understand at the very end of the game, too, he threw the interception on the goal line. That's not good at all. But he has is a lot of potential, still some things to clean up, but I still think he could be a really good quarterback for Lincoln Riley down the road. And he showed he can carry an offense against an elite defense yesterday. He just got let down by the USC defense, which we've seen before time and time again with Caleb Williams. Getting let down by the defense. Jayden Maiava had the same thing happen to him yesterday, but he had a really, really good performance against one of the best defenses in America.
Everything you just mentioned is going to be all the big stories with USC next year. And look, let's face it, you're right with Maiava. Before the end of the game, look, with 4 minutes left to go, he was driving down to tie the game. Yeah. They were down 35-28, and then the pick six, and then another pick six, and that's what it is. But no, I mean, he was really good. Honestly, for 3.5 quarters, a lot better than I expected him to be against this defense. But USC, they have to figure out if Maiava can consistently be that guy, and like you mentioned, if they can get their defense this year, I think was better. I think closer to average than just what we saw in 2023, which was just atrocious, honestly. But they've got a ways to go before they can compete at the top of the Big Ten, and I think that's on both sides of the ball. They really need to figure out who their foundational players are.
Yep. So Notre Dame taking down USC, and Notre Dame clinching a first-round home playoff game in the process. Hey, thanks for watching another episode of the PFF College Football Show. Please make sure you guys subscribe to the channel.
Also, subscribe to PFF Plus at subscribe.pff.com for all of the same data and grades that we use in our show, plus fantasy tools, betting tools, and our mock draft simulator.